The season arrives speaking in cold accents, soft syllables carved from frost and quiet. Morning lowers its voice to a pale whisper, as if afraid to wake the sleeping ground. The sun hangs distant, a muted coin, lost in the pocket of a gray sky. Breath turns visible, fragile and brief, each exhale a secret released to the air. Streets listen in silence, their long bodies stretched beneath thin ice, while footsteps echo like cautious thoughts. Inside a tired mind, trees stand untranslated, their branches spelling sorrow without leaves. They have learned the grammar of loss, how to endure without explanation, how to remain when color forgets them. The wind reads them aloud, page by page, until the forest sounds like an old prayer. In this season, time slows its pulse. Hours wrap themselves in wool. Minutes sit closer to the fire of memory. Even clocks seem unsure, their hands stiff with cold hesitation. Nothing rushes here. Everything listens first. Night arrives early, bringing a darker dialect of cold. Stars sharpen, their light cutting through the silence. Like quiet needles, the moon speaks in silver tones, cool and distant, touching roofs, rivers, and lonely faces, with the same indifferent care. Hearts also change their language. Words freeze before reaching the lips. Emotions gather beneath the ribs, waiting for warmth that never comes. People walk wrapped in layers, not just of cloth, but of unsaid things. Memories feel heavier now. They fall like slow snow, covering old footprints of joy, softening even the sharpest pain, until everything looks the same shade of white. Yet beneath that cover, something still aches to be felt. Windows glow like gentle witnesses, small islands of warmth in a frozen sea. Inside them, laughter struggles, tea steams with tired hope, and hands reach for hands, to remember heat. Outside, the cold listens patiently, learning every sound. This is the season of cold accents, where love speaks quietly, where sorrow sounds clearer, where silence becomes fluent. Nothing shouts here, everything murmurs, and in those murmurs, the soul learns how to endure. The days stretch longer inside the cold, as if winter bends them for its own use. Shadows linger on walls like tired thoughts, refusing to leave even at noon. Light feels borrowed, returned too soon to the sky. Footsteps crunch with a careful honesty, each sound confessing presence. There is no hiding in this season. Even silence makes noise. Frozen puddles remember the rain, holding its shape like a paused tear. The air carries old voices, words once spoken in warmer months. They drift now, brittle and faint, breaking if touched too deeply. Conversations shorten, not from lack of meaning, but from the effort it takes to speak. Hands learn the art of holding on, to cups, to coats, to each other. Skin understands distance, how cold can live between two palms. Even when they meet, yet still people try, because warmth is an act of resistance. Evenings settle like a second skin. Lamps glow softer, as if respecting the mood of darkness. Curtains close slowly, protecting small worlds inside rooms, where stories are told again, to keep them alive. Dreams change their texture now. They come wrapped in fog, edges blurred, meanings half hidden. Sleep itself feels colder, and waking carries the ache of unfinished rest. The cold speaks in accents of memory. It reminds the heart of absence, of chairs left empty, of names not called aloud anymore. Every breath tastes of distance, every pause feels intentional. Yet somewhere beneath the frost, life listens. Seeds wait without complaint, trusting a promise they cannot see. Rivers move quietly under ice, still faithful to their direction. And so the soul learns patience. From the frozen ground, it learns that survival is not loud, that endurance often whispers, that even in the season of cold accents, something within us keeps speaking, softly, stubbornly, in the language of staying. Morning returns wearing the same pale coat, but each dawn is slightly different, a new shade of quiet layered on the last. Frost redraws the world overnight, turning ordinary edges into silver lines, as if everything deserves to be underlined. Birds speak less now. When they do, their voices sound careful, measured like precious breath. The sky listens without response, wide and reserved, holding its thoughts behind clouds. Faces pass like closed books, eyes lowered against the wind. Everyone carries a private winter, a cold they do not name. In crowded streets, loneliness sharpens, clearer than in empty fields. The season teaches restraint. Joy learns to sit still. Grief learns to stand upright. Tears freeze before falling, turning pain inward, where it echoes longer. Fire becomes a language of its own. It speaks in crackles and glow, in sudden warmth against numb skin. People gather around it instinctively, as if remembering an ancient agreement. To survive together. Outside, the cold keeps count. It measures time in falling temperatures, in the length of nights, in the silence between heartbeats. It waits, confident and unhurried. Memories knock harder now. They want entry, demand to be felt fully. The cold lets them in, gives them space to sit, to say what they couldn't say before. Yet even here, hope learns to speak quietly, not as a promise, but as persistence. Cup refilled. A light left on. A step taken despite the ice. The season of cold accents does not ask to be loved. It asks to be understood. It strips the world to its bones, so the heart can recognize what truly keeps it alive. Night deepens, and the cold sharpens its vowels. Silence grows wider, stretching between houses, between thoughts, between one heartbeat and the next. Even the stars seem farther apart, as if distance itself has learned to breathe. The moon watches without judgment. It has seen many winters pass. Many hearts close and open again. Its light rests gently on frozen roofs, on empty roads, on faces turned upward in quiet questioning. Somewhere, a train cries into the dark, the sound long and aching. It carries departures in its voice, and the weight of arrivals delayed. The cold absorbs the echo, keeping it for later, like a story too heavy to repeat. Rooms fill with the smell of waiting. Chairs remember the shape of bodies that rose and did not return. Walls hold conversations in their paint, soft murmurs from warmer nights, when laughter was less careful. The heart, too, becomes a room. It locks some doors, leaves others slightly open. Old feelings sit quietly in corners, wrapped in the dust of years, patient in the way only memories can be. Outside, snow begins to fall, not loudly, not urgently, but with a steady devotion. Each flake carries its own small silence, and together they teach the ground how to forgive what lies beneath. Footprints appear, then disappear. Nothing insists on being permanent. The cold reminds the world that staying is temporary, that even pain must eventually move on. Yet still, life persists in subtle ways. A window opens just enough for air. A voice answers another voice. A hand reaches out, finding warmth where it was least expected. The season of cold accents does not end the song. It lowers the volume, so the truest notes can be heard. In the hush of frozen moments, the soul learns its own voice, quiet, enduring, and unwilling to disappear. Dawn comes again, hesitant but faithful. It does not promise comfort, only presence. The sky lightens slowly, as if lifting a heavy thought from its chest. Cold lingers, unwilling to loosen its grip. The world wakes carefully. Doors open with restrained creaks. Cups are filled with steaming patience. Hands hover near warmth, grateful for small mercies. No one speaks loudly. The day is still listening. Breath fogs the air like unfinished sentences. Each exhale carries something unspoken, a truth paused between lips and courage. The cold receives everything equally, never judging what it holds. Paths look longer in winter light. Distances feel heavier, steps more deliberate. Even familiar places seem changed, as if they, too, are learning how to endure themselves. The season teaches honesty. There is no hiding from emptiness. When leaves are gone, no distraction from the ache of quiet. What remains stands clearly, undecorated and true. People discover the weight of their own hearts. Some are surprised by the heaviness, others by how much they can carry. The cold does not interfere. It only observes, a silent witness to resilience. Afternoon passes like a held breath. Light fades without drama, slipping back into gray. The sky closes its eyes early, tired from watching the world struggle gently. Yet somewhere, beneath layers of frost, something stirs. Not joy yet, not relief, but the quiet strength of survival. The kind that does not announce itself, but remains. This is the gift hidden in the season of cold accents. The ability to stay, to listen, to hold silence without breaking. And in learning that, the heart prepares itself. For the moment warmth will return. Evening settles like a familiar ache. Not new, not unexpected, just present. Shadows lengthen their sentences across the floor, and the day quietly admits its tiredness. Windows reflect faces back to themselves. In the glass, people look older, more honest. The cold has a way of removing illusions, leaving only what time has already touched. Outside, the wind practices restraint. It no longer howls. It murmurs, as if it has learned the value of softness. Its voice slips through cracks and collars, reminding everyone that nothing is ever fully sealed. Memories arrive without warning. A song half remembered, a name spoken only in thought, a warmth that once fit perfectly, and now exists only as absence. The season allows these visits, never rushing them away. Loneliness feels sharper now, but also clearer. It is no longer confused with noise. It stands alone, defined, asking to be acknowledged rather than avoided. Some hearts grow quieter, others braver. Some choose stillness, others movement. Winter does not demand the same response. It respects each way of surviving. Snow gathers like patience, layer upon layer, covers harsh edges, not to erase them, but to make them bearable. Under its weight, the earth rests, unashamed of its pause. The night deepens its tone again. Stars blink slowly, as if conserving energy. The moon drifts, a calm witness to endurance, never rushing the dark away. In this prolonged hush, the soul learns to speak inwardly, not with despair, not with hope alone, but with acceptance. A steady, grounded voice that knows storms pass, because they always have. The season of cold accents continues, not as a punishment, but as a lesson written in frost. Teaches the heart how to survive without applause, how to breathe when warmth is distant, and how to remain, quietly, faithfully, until change finds its way back. Midnight stands still, as if time itself has paused to listen. The cold deepens, not cruelly, but with a deliberate calm. Streets lie empty, their long silence unbroken, holding secrets beneath the frost. A distant dog barks once, then thinks better of it. Sound feels heavier at this hour, each noise weighed carefully, before being released into the dark. Even thoughts move slower, wrapped in caution. Rooms breathe softly, radiators tick like tired hearts, trying their best to keep life comfortable. Blankets gather around bodies, quiet acts of care. In a season that demands them, dreams wander through colder landscapes. They are less colorful now, more symbolic. Faces appear without names, places without directions. Sleep becomes a passage, rather than an escape. The cold speaks clearly at night. It asks questions no one answers aloud. What remains when warmth is gone? Who stays when comfort leaves? The silence waits, patient and unforcing. Somewhere, a light stays on, not because it is needed, but because darkness feels too final. That small glow pushes gently against the vast cold, an unspoken refusal to vanish. Outside, ice tightens its grip, but beneath it water still moves. Invisible, persistent, faithful to motion. This quiet endurance mirrors the heart. still flowing despite restraint. The season stretches itself, testing limits, yet it never fully closes the door. A crack remains, for breath, for belief, for the idea of warmth returning. In this hour, the soul understands something simple. Survival is not loud. It is a whisper repeated each day, a choice made again and again. And in the long night of cold accents, that whisper is enough to keep the heart awake, waiting, alive. Toward morning, the darkness loosens its grip, not gone, but less certain of itself. The cold remains, yet it feels thinner, as if worn down by patience. The sky inhales slowly, preparing for light. Colors return reluctantly, first a dull blue, then a fragile gray, finally the faint suggestion of gold. Nothing rushes its arrival. The world stirs again, not awake, not asleep, but hovering between. This in-between hour carries truth, where exhaustion and hope share the same breath. People rise with careful movements. Bones remember yesterday's cold. Muscles resist, then comply. There is courage even in standing up, even in choosing to begin again. Under the same winter sky, outside, frost loosens from edges. It does not disappear. It retreats. Drops form, fall. Quiet evidence that change is possible. Without noise. The season watches this quietly. It does not argue. It knows its role is not to last forever, only to teach endurance, to strip life down, until what matters remains visible. Some hearts feel lighter today, others still heavy. Both are allowed. Winter makes room for contradiction, for strength beside fragility, for faith beside doubt. A child laughs somewhere, sudden and bright. The sound surprises the cold, cuts through it briefly, then fades, but it lingers in the air, a reminder that warmth can exist. Even here, the season of cold accents continues, yet it is no longer absolute. Within its silence, something has shifted, not the weather, the will, and so life goes on, softly but stubbornly, speaking its own quiet language. Even wrapped in cold, even edged with frost, the heart keeps translating silence into survival, and survival into meaning. The day unfolds with restrained confidence, as if unsure it deserves to exist. Clouds drift slowly, heavy with unshed thoughts. Light filters through them, like forgiveness learning how to arrive. Markets open, voices rise briefly, then soften again. Even commerce speaks gently now. Coins feel colder in the hand, and every exchange carries a hint of caution. Faces turn inward more often. Eyes linger on nothing in particular. Searching familiar distances. Winter has trained them to look past surfaces, to recognize what cannot be touched. The cold rewrites habits. People walk closer to walls, choose shadows over wind. They learn the geography of shelter, the small mercies of doors, the kindness of corners. Time continues its quiet labor. It stitches days together, with threads of repetition. Wake, endure, rest, repeat. In this rhythm, there is an unexpected peace. Pain feels different here, less sharp, more spread out, like a dull ache that teaches patience. It no longer demands answers, only acknowledgement. The afternoon fades again, as it always does. But now the fading feels familiar, less frightening. The heart has learned that darkness is not an ending, only a pause between breaths. A kettle sings somewhere, low and comforting. Steam rises, disappears, leaving warmth behind. These small acts matter more now. They are proof of care. In a careful season, the season of cold accents continues to speak softly. Its lessons are never shouted. They settle slowly, like snow in the mind, changing the landscape without asking. And the soul, shaped by this quiet endurance, stands steadier than before. It has learned how to wait, how to listen, how to remain open, without freezing closed.